Senator Scott Newman was elected to the Senate in 2010, began his service in 2011 with 12 years total time served here in the Senate. Senate days, 4,157, with time served in the other body, so to speak, 5,248 days. I'm honored to present Senator Scott Newman.
That's a lot of days. Oh, there it is already. There it is. I direct your attention to the front of the chamber. When I would get up and give an impassioned speech imparting wisdom of the ages to this body, when the president was sitting over here, a mere serf like the rest of us, he would pick up that white flag and start waving it, doing his very best to get me off track, forget what I was talking about, and get me laughing so I'd have to look at this side of the chamber. And he just did it again. Boy, it didn't take you long either. Last week, Senator Curran sent out an email suggesting that each one of us from the Quitter Caucus get 1 second for each year of service. And I thought at the time that Senator Curran had finally had a good legislative idea. But I think he got it wrong. And here's why. I'm sitting here listening to all of these speeches, and the humanity of everybody on this floor is coming out. And I would simply suggest that in the next legislative session, begin the session with some introductory speeches so that each member can see the personality and the person, as opposed to the front of the chamber or the back of the chamber or the Democrats or the Republicans. And get back to some of what Senator Gazelka was talking about. And just maybe if you hear and see the humanity in our backgrounds, maybe that'll help just a little bit. I want to direct your attention to this chamber. I've been sitting here for a dozen years. Have you ever sat here and looked at this place? That dome? The words from Daniel Webster, equality, courage, can't read that one, freedom, justice is up behind me. Look at the corners of our chamber with the statuary. Take a look at where the president sits and how that is framed and the grandeur of it. This place is literally awe-inspiring. It's awe-inspiring and is, I'm sure, for all of you. But let me tell you a real quick story to try and bring home the awe-inspiring nature of this chamber. A few weeks ago, I was the last senator off the floor. And I was heading for the door, and just on the other side of the door is this family. Mom, dad, 4 kids. And it's a young family. And they're standing out there and they're looking inside. So I walked over there and I said, "Come on in." I started making the sergeants just a little bit nervous because I had to take the velvet chain down that protects us. "Come on in." So I get this family in, and there's this little guy. He's about that tall. I'm going to guess 4 years old. And his eyes are like the size of platters, and he's hunkered down. And he's looking around, and this place is awe-inspiring to him. And he looks up at me and he says, "Are there any monsters in this place?" And indeed there are. And our job as senators is to keep those monsters at bay, and to keep them out of here, and to work together and accomplish things. Because, yeah, That little guy had it right. There are monsters in this place. In the time that I've been here, I think I have only one regret, and it is sincere. And my regret is, and what I would offer to the senators that are coming back, and the senators that are going to be here, I regret I did not take as much time as I should have to work collaboratively with my fellow senators, and I deeply regret that. I just learned too slowly, I guess. But it's absolutely necessary. You get nothing done unless you work together. And if you go back to what I was talking about in the beginning, that introductory speech, maybe that would help. But I've learned over the last few years, and I will tell you the greatest satisfaction that I have as a senator is what we were able to do collaboratively within my caucus and without, and to work with the folks on both sides of the aisle. And therein lies the greatest satisfaction, and therein I would try to impart to you the lesson that I learned. I want to recognize 5 people that I call my team. Lexi, Krista, Dave, Pat, and Matt, my team. And I am profoundly grateful to them for all of the help that they have given to me. All of us have been asked, you know, what's the future hold for you? And I got to tell you, like Paul Gazelka, I don't have a clue. I think God's going to open up a door. I'm not going to go home, sit down on the couch, and die. That door is going to open. I'm going to step through it. And over the years, you know, I haven't really shared a lot of personal things about, you know, what I really enjoy doing. But I will tell you this. I'll share 2 things with you. Number 1, I have an undergraduate degree in history, ancient history, to be precise. It's just a fascinating discipline, and it doesn't pay very well. So it would be my intention now. I'm going to have some time, and I want to go and continue looking at some of those places that I've been reading about for years. Gibraltar, southern France, Italy, Greece, Istanbul. What a city. Israel. I got to get to Israel. And Egypt. Take a trip up the Nile River and go to the Valley of the Kings. Those are some of the things that I would really like to do. The other thing is, for a flatlander coming out of cornfield country, I have grown to love the ocean. I love the creatures that are in it. It is so peaceful and beautiful on a bright sunny day. And when Mother Nature gets her ire up, I'm telling you, the awesome power of that ocean is just something else. And I intend to spend a little bit more time on the ocean. You know, if I had to come back and do it over again, I think I'd be an oceanographer. So I'm going to spend a little time on the ocean, and maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe I'll just go out and pick up plastic and cans and stuff that are littering the shoreline. I don't know. But that's where I'm headed. I want to go back very briefly before I sit down to the family that I mentioned that came across the threshold, came down on the floor. I had no idea what family that was. No idea whatsoever. And so I got him down over in this area, and the kids look up and say, "That's Papa's desk. That's Papa's desk." I had no idea. And they clambered over to this desk and they started opening up the drawer. Now the sergeants are getting a little nervous, and they're writing notes to Papa, shoving them in the drawer. Now, I'm not going to tell you who Papa is. If Papa wants to tell you who he is, that's okay with me. But, you know, what a coincidence that this family, I had no idea who they were, and they were close relatives, I'll say, of one of our members. And it was just fun to have that happen to me. So, Mr. President, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes, and I am afraid it is time for me to say goodbye. Mr. President.